beautiful color pairings that I've selected for you and only you. So if you're ready, then I'm ready with my bow tie equipped. Let's talk about this paint color. So the first things first, we are working with a warm neutral paint color. And the understanding behind the word neutral colors for most of us is a more passive color that's a little desaturated, not too vibrant or punchy, not meant to stand out a whole lot. And that might seem like a boring color, but I like to argue that boring isn't always bad when it comes to paint colors. Neutrals like Canvas Tan do a great job at just sort of blending in a little bit, so it's not going to pull too much focus. And this means that the furniture you have, the accessories you incorporate, those are going to be the things that stand out a little bit more. So to get a little more information on this color, to get some more context, we can go to the Sherwin-Williams website and find out things like the LRV, which is the light reflectance value. And this number tells us exactly how light or dark a color will appear on a scale from 0 to 100. And it scores a 64, which means based on my experience as a wall color in pretty much any area of the home. There's not a lot of complexity with this color. It is sort of a lighter mid-tone beigey color. It has a bit of a khaki vibe to it. Very much a standard color that you would use in the main areas of your home, not the rooms where you want something a little more punchy. All right, so let's get to the trim color options. Assuming Canvas Tan is going to be your main wall color in your home, what are you going to paint your baseboards and your doors and your frames? The first option I would say would be pure white, which is a classic color by Sherwin-Williams. Very clean, very sophisticated, not overly bright, but still reads as a white. It'll be very punchy because it doesn't have a ton of warmth to it, so that'll help complement the warmth found in Canvas Tan. If you wanted something a bit deeper and you kind of wanted to be a bit different, I would say, then you can go with Perfect Khaki, which is another khaki themed color. Although this one does read a little more towards brown. It has a touch of a red undertone to it to make it feel like a mushroom, like a cremini mushroom type of coloration. It will give you a little more contrast on the darker end rather than going with a crispy white trim like a lot of us do. Now going from crispy to creamy, this is our first color pairing. Creamy is one of my favorite off-whites by Sherwin-Williams, just because it is as bright as I would go while still having some real noticeable saturation to it. It's very, very creamy. It has a soft yellow undertone that almost feels a little bit buttery to me. It's been featured in countless color collections by Sherwin-Williams. I think it's popular for good reason. It's one of the few white paint colors that I would happily use on walls, because I feel like when you go as bright as this on your walls sometimes, it's just too much. But creamy's soft, fluffy, and more importantly, it'll go quite nicely with Canvas Tan. So the two in conjunction, beautiful. So the areas that I would use creamy over Canvas Tan are just the spots that you want a little more light. You want more light being reflected back into the space. That doesn't necessarily mean put it in your darkest rooms, because that can have a bit of a dingy effect. When you're going through the color testing process, make sure you try both colors in specific rooms so you know what kind of effect you'll get once you've finished painting them. Essentially, this just gives you a lighter option within that same sort of family. Our second color pairing also has tan in the name, but it is quite different. It's called Interface Tan, and this color is on the slightly darker end of being a mid-tone. It has a 40 LRV, so it's just about as dark as our darker trim color, Perfect Khaki, but this one, you can already see it is a little more of a red dominant brown. It has this rosy element to it, perhaps a bit of a clay vibe to it, like a natural kind of red clay. It is very much within the terracotta sort of surge we're seeing in design, but it's not overly saturated with red. It is more of that red undertone that will be more prominent next to these other more neutral passive colors. This would be a subtle accent choice for me, because even though it's within that sort of browny, warm neutral family, that red aspect is what sets it off completely. Still light enough for a lot of spaces in your home, but maybe not something that you want to overwhelm your home with. So I wouldn't typically use this in hallways and the major arteries of the home that are connecting to all other spaces. But the secondary rooms that are kind of closed off by doors, dining rooms, living rooms, family rooms, things like that. And then our third color pairing is definitely the darkest color here. With an LRV of 13, we have Night Owl. And the best way I can describe this color is a charcoal green. It really has this wonderful combination of this off black mixed with this really earthy, grounded green. Sherwin-Williams describes it as having a cyan kind of undertone, but I think that might be a bit misleading. It's not as blue on paper. Maybe if you have a lot of cooler lighting, it can give the illusion of that sort of bluey green aspect, but I think the coolness comes more so from dark gray and black rather than blue. This would be the accent color, not because it's the most vibrant choice, but it's the deepest choice. So furniture, cabinets, maybe a moody office or something like that. This is a great option. Here's the palette all together. Let me know what you think. And if you want more Paint People content, we now have Patreon, where we have exclusive bonus content that you can watch every single week. So click the link in the description below if you want to join that. As for Color Quickie, we got another episode right over here for you to check out.